So it's 11:30 sharp. Let's start. I see people coming into the session, so that's good. So yeah, welcome to this webinar. My name is Jurgen van Gils from VisionBI. This is already the third webinar in a series of webinars we run on the Yellowfin 9. So Yellowfin 9 is released since the beginning of this year and brings the next level of business intelligence analytics. It's a full business intelligence and analytics suite, and it contains a complete solution from extracting data, the ETL, storing the results in the database, so writing it back, creating beautiful reports and dashboards on top of the data with the new dashboard canvases, and also have actions on those dashboards. So that are new developments you see in version 9. The action creating part is done with code mode. That's a session that's done in 2 weeks. So that's the next webinar that we run. Yellowfin also tells stories on your data using present and stories, and have your data analyzed with assisted insights. That's something you're going to see today in this webinar. We also have a session coming up on signals. That's a real-time monitoring solution based on machine learning algorithms that tell you what's going on in your data. But like I said, it's on real-time basis then. So the invite for these webinars are published on LinkedIn, in the VisionBI group, and also in the Yellowfin BI user group. If you are not yet a member, please sign up for this group. We hope to share a lot of information with you and by you also, of course. So today we run the webinar on data storytelling. So visualizing the data with a blog style way and presentation way like PowerPoint, and have your data analyzed for you. Gary Herbst is going to show you. He's a senior Yellowfin consultant. And if you have questions in the meantime, there's a Q&A window on the side of the screen, and you can enter your questions and we will answer them afterwards, or I will answer them during the session with a feedback maybe. So let's start, and hope you enjoy this session. I will now hand over to Gary.
Hello everyone, I'm Gawie Herbst. As Jurgen mentioned, I'm a Yellowfin consultant at VisionBI, and today we're going to talk about data storytelling in Yellowfin. Now, the question is, what is data storytelling in BI terms? Storytelling will give you the ability to share your data, but it will also allow you to share your insights with your colleagues and the other users in the organization. It will allow you to add that context and data, and thereby bringing the data to life so that you can use that data in decision making and to take action, because that's the important thing. We want to make sure that we take action on our data. Storytelling will also make our data more memorable and impactful. People like to read a story and understand the background and the thought process behind those reports. It's much better than just looking at a report with no explanation connected to it. Now, Yellowfin's BI storytelling capabilities is quite unique. It will allow you to create management reports, but also presentations. And it uses stories and present for these capabilities in Yellowfin. Now, first we're going to look at stories. Now, stories in Yellowfin is similar to writing a blog or an article on a website. It will allow you to add the context and explanations for your changes in your data. It's really simple and easy to create. You can add live reports, even point-in-time snapshot reports, and then also Yellowfin will give you the ability to embed third-party content from other BI vendors like Power BI, Qlik and Tableau. You can then go and add text, images and videos to give that extra insight on your reports. Stories will also allow you to collaborate with other users and co-author, so you can make sure that you get everybody's input, and when you're done with the story, you can then go and publish that and share it with the other users to make sure that they actually read it. Now let's go into a demonstration and show you how to create a story. So to do that in Yellowfin, I click on the plus button there at the top, and then I go to story. Now here I have my story screen where I can now start writing my blog or my article. We will start today by adding a header. So I can just click there and type. So this will be we can then add a nice image, a header image for our story. Let's add this one. So make sure that we capture our audience. And then from here, we can start by typing our story. Now, in order to save some time, I already have some text copied in my clipboard. So there's the text that we've added to our story. And on any of these, I can now go and highlight that text object or portion of the text. And then I can create a header from there. I can make it a quote, bold, italic, and even add external links in here. So for now, let's make that a quote. And just to show you another example, we're going to change this text to bold. So there's our text. Now adding a report to the story is just as easy. We can click on the plus button here at the bottom left. And then from here, we can add a report, images, our videos, a divider, which is basically just a line to create a new section in your story, and then our third-party content from Power BI, Qlik or Tableau. For now, let's click on report. So we want to add a report. Yellowfin will then ask us to select the report that we would like to add to our story. At the top left here, we have the option to search for our reports. We can add snapshots, which is our point in time data, and then even bookmarks. So if you have a pre-filtered report that you want to put on a story, you can even do that as well. Now let's search for our report. So there's our website report. I select it and I can simply click on insert into story and that report will be inserted. But before I do that, if I hover over my report and I click on this icon, I can now look through all of the different visualizations of that report and then add those to my story instead of just adding the chart. So here we're going to select insert into story. And there we go. There's our story in our report in a story. From here, I can change the size of the report. If I want to make it a little bit smaller, I can also switch to display. So if I don't want the chart, I can have the table displayed here. And we can also maximize a report from a story. So this is what you can do to have a look in more detail at the data. And when you're done, Yellowfin also introduced these buttons, the navigation buttons here at the bottom. So now I can return to the story and it will take me back to the story that I was working on. Okay, other things that we can do in a story. I'm just going to type this text and follow me. I can now add my text in here, but if I want to create a bulleted list, I can use the minus and the space bar, and then Yellowfin will create these bullets for me. So this is web, phone, and email. Just click on enter again. Adding a divider, it's just a line there. And then lastly, what I want to show you is adding an image in here. So from here, we can search for our images using Yellowfin's new image manager. We select the image and click on insert to story. And there we go. And again, we can change the size here of that image. When you are done with your part of the story, you can also invite other users to collaborate on the story and co-author with you. So I'm going to invite a user here. You can send that user a message and then we send them an invite. So now that user can assist me with the development of my story or the adding the insights and the explanation to my data. When we're done, we click on publish. We give our story a name, a description. And similar to our reports, we store it in a content folder. We can set the security. So instead of making it a public story, I can only give specific users access to this. And then we click on publish. Now the last step, which is an optional step, is where we can share the story with the other users to make sure that they actually read it. Actions on our story. So when our story is now published, I can see here that the system administrator was the author of the story. I can like the story. Yellowfin calls it a clap. So basically you can see how many people like that, who read the story, when it was published, and then right at the bottom, we can see again who the author was and the collaborators that assisted with the story. I can still use my activity stream to share the story with other users and collaborate on the findings in my report. So that's how easy it is to add and create a story in Yellowfin. One more thing that I want to show you on stories is if I'm in a specific report. So I'm just going to open a report here. When I'm viewing my report, I can use these action buttons at the top. There's a new one there for story, which will allow me to add the story from the report from the report screen directly into a story. So here I can just select my caption, a description, and then Yellowfin will show me a list of all of the draft stories that I can select. And if I don't have one, I can create a new story here, my new story, and then click on create story. So again, using these new navigation links, I can go and edit that story that was just created, and there's the story. So I can now just go and add my header and image and my interpretation of that. Okay, so stories will really give you the ability to provide that context and explanation for the changes in your data. Now, sometimes when we want to share data, formal presentation is a more appropriate format to use, and for this we can use Present. Now, Present is a presentation tool similar to Power BI or Keynote, but unlike Power BI, I don't have to copy my reports and then paste it into a third-party application. I can do that all within one environment, and it's a governed, secure environment. I can have my live interactive analytics and reports on my presentation. So that will enable us to create a presentation once, and then every time when you open that presentation, you'll have the latest data displayed in there. Yellowfin will allow us to collaborate with other users on our presentation, so you can add notes while you present on each slide. You can have user security implemented on your reports, and Yellowfin will automatically take that into consideration when it's viewing the report on the screen. Yellowfin also uses the same dashboard builder that we've used to build our dashboards. So that means everything that we can do on a dashboard is also available on the presentation side. So that includes our action buttons and even code mode that we can use to extend the functionality of our presentations. So to give you an example of that is we can now add a timer to automatically switch between the slides after a couple of seconds. So this is a nice idea if you have like a big screen display in an office and you want to continuously update your key performance metrics. When you're done with your presentation, I can then go and save it, but I also have the option to store it as a theme. And that will enable me to create new presentations in future using the same template. So I don't have to go and recreate the colors and the font sizes and the position of that. All of that is done once, and I can just reuse that template. So let's look at an example. Now, in our previous webinar, we've shown you how to create dashboards like these. And this is all good, but sometimes we want to present the information in a different format. And for this, we can use our presentations. So this is an example of one for this recorded data. We can switch between the slides. And as you can see here, we have our live data on our charts. So this is a really nice way of presenting the information. Now, again, how do I do that in Yellowfin? So I click on the plus button, and I go to present. I then give my presentation a name. So this will be called monthly. We can select a default data set. Now, this is an optional step, but this is really used for blueprint functionality in Yellowfin. Now, blueprint is where we can create a wireframe for our presentation. So even if we don't have the reports yet, we can still create and design our presentation, and then the developers can take that afterwards and develop the reports and replace them on our dashboard. Lastly, we select a theme. For today, we're not going to select any theme, so this will be a blank theme, and we click on create. So now we're in our presentation builder. On the left, or right, sorry, here we have our properties panel, and this we can use to change the settings and properties specific to the object that is selected. In this case, it's the slide itself. So I can change the name of the slide here. We can add grid lines if we need them. You even have the ability to add guidelines which will allow you or enable you to align all of your objects on the screen. For now, we're just going to change the background color to this dark blue. And then on the left, I have my content option. So here I can add new slides, reports, filters, text, graphics, images, and even our widgets, which includes our action buttons. The slide that I want to create now is like a title slide for my presentation. So for this, we're going to need an image. So I'm going to add an image in here. I can just search for the image and then drag it across and put it on my canvas. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and then drag it and position it here. We want to add a title. So for this, we go to the text objects. You can use any of these pre-formatted objects. I'm going to use the title one, and then you can select that and start typing. So this is the sales update. Use the keyboard shortcuts, for example, Control-A to select everything and Control-B to make it bold. We can change the colors here. Remember, this properties panel is now specific to the object that's selected. And let's increase the font size as well. So there we go. There we have our first slide. To create another slide, I can go to Slides, click on this plus button here at the bottom, and then add a content slide. So this will be our performance tab. And we create that slide. For this one, we will add a report. Remember, this is a live report that we can add to our presentation. So here we just search for it. And we drag the report onto the canvas. Now, when I do that, Yellowfin will now ask me to select the visualization that I want on my slide. Now, in Yellowfin 9, we can either have the table or the chart or even both of these on the same slide. In previous releases, this was not possible. You had to create a copy of the report and add both of those reports to your canvas. So for now, we're going to select the chart and resize this to make sure it's a little bit bigger. And you can see it. I'm also going to add a shape to create like a different section on the slide. And for this, we're going to use a shape. Make this a little bit bigger. We're going to select that and change the background also to our dark blue. Adding text. Just quickly going to add the text in here. Change the color to white. Oh, sorry. There we go. And then maybe some normal interpretation of our so here we go. Here we have the chart interpreted. Now Yellowfin also introduced this preview mode button, so I can click on that, and this is where I can see what my users will see while I'm still in the design mode of my presentation. To get out of there, I just click on Edit Presentation button at the top. And next, what I want to do is add a table of contents slide. So again, I go to my slide, here at the top, click on plus, and this will be table contents. Now, this is currently the third slide, but I want to change the position of my slides. So to do that, I click on Slides, and then I can just select the slide that I want to move and drag it using the mouse. And now that will be my second slide. For this one, we're going to add an image in here. So let's call this one infographic. Add it to there. Again, we're going to add our text. Things. And now we want to add a link to our first section of our presentation. In this case, it was performance. So this one, what I can now do is use these list style properties on my properties panel to make it a numbered list or a bulleted list. Now, if a user clicks on performance, I want Yellowfin to take me to the performance section of my presentation. And for this, we can use the actions that Yellowfin introduced also in version 9. Yellowfin ships with these actions, and they can be added to any object on my slide or my presentation. So this includes graphics, text, and even reports. For now, I want to go to that subtab, and it will be the third subtab that I want to go to. So when I'm done, I just publish my presentation. Again, we give it a name and a description, store it in a folder, and then lastly here we have the option to store this as a theme. So this means all of the colors, the font sizes, the position will be stored, and when I create new presentations, I can just use this as a sort of a template for my presentations. I'm going to click on save. And there we go, there's our presentation. We also have this full screen button here, so we can use the entire screen space for our presentation. We can just go through the slides, and when I now click on performance, it will take me to my content slide. Okay. Actions on my presentation is I can share this presentation with other users. I can either distribute it within the Yellowfin environment, so the users will be notified via the timeline, or I can send an email of this presentation to the users. They will be sent a URL link that they can click on, and it will open the Yellowfin presentation. You can also change the security of my presentation without having to go and edit the dashboard. And then lastly, also introduce the 9.3, we can now broadcast a presentation. So this is where I can schedule the presentation to run at a specific date and time, and then Yellowfin will send all of the recipients an email with the presentation attached, either as a PDF or using a URL link to the content. Okay, so we've shown you how to add the context to your data, but Yellowfin can also do that automatically for you, and it does this using assisted insights. Now, assisted insights will allow you to click on a value in a report and then answer your questions and try to find the insights for you. So as a business user, it will save you a lot of time, because you don't have to go to the developers if you see a problem in your data. You can just ask Yellowfin and get the results instantly. As a report developer or a data analyst, when you now create your reports, you can also use assisted insights to assist you with that and help you discover the insights. So especially if you don't know the data and you want to familiarize yourself a little bit better with the data, you can use assisted insights. Now, assisted insights is really smart algorithms and machine learning that runs in the background across your data, and will try and find the most likely causes for the data and also ranks them. Yellowfin will then create visualizations for you, and it will pair that with natural language explanations of the insights. If you find an insight that is of interest to you, you then have the ability to store that insight and share it with other users as well. So let's go and have a look at that. So as a business user, if I now see a spike in my data from one month to another, for example, this spike here, I can simply click on the spike and then just click on it again, go to Auto Analyze and ask Yellowfin to explain that spike or to compare the value with another data field in this case. So here I'm going to ask Yellowfin to explain the data for me. So now Yellowfin is running that algorithms in the back end, and it will try and find the most likely causes for my spike. Here you can see that Yellowfin created these charts for me, also with the English narrative to explain that. If I click on any of these, this is where Yellowfin will tell me that this is the second most significant variable in this case that impacted my sales value. But you'll also notice that the chart here at the bottom are showing us the sales by date. But for the assisted insights, Yellowfin also looked at other dimensions. So in this case, the gender. So it's not just looking at the data in your report or the chart that you're looking at. It will also look at other values in our data set, okay, to make sure we get that insight. Now, I can now simply select the insights that I'm interested in and then store them and share them with other users. they will then be able to see these insights using the activity stream. As a business user, if I see this is an insight that I would like to run and have a report of, I can click on these three buttons here, or the three dots here, and go to Edit Analysis. So what this will do is it will now create a new report for me. It will automatically add all of the fields required to reproduce these reports. And then again, I can go and select from these visualizations. So if I want to see the sales by gender, simply select that, go to charts, and the chart is already created for me. Okay, so that's how simple it is to create the report as a business user from the insights that Yellowfin has provided us with. Now, as a report developer, I can also use assisted insights to help me find those insights. So as a developer, I'm going to create a new report. I select our data set. And then all you need to do is simply drag in the fields that you would like to analyze onto your data set. So there's all of the fields that we are interested in. And now I can use this button here at the top, the Smart Analysis button, to ask Yellowfin a question. So here I can tell Yellowfin that I would like to explain a metric, compare metrics. I can even compare dates and dimensions. In this case, let's explain a metric. Then we select the metric that we would like to explain. Let's make it the invoiced amount metric, and I can now click on continue. So again, Yellowfin will run those algorithms on my data and try and give me insights. Now, based on the amount of data that you have and the complexity of the data, this might take a while. So run it in your environment, test it, and make sure that you actually get something that's valuable returned. Here on the left, we now have our charts that Yellowfin generated for us, and again with the English narrative. So if I'm interested in a specific chart, let's say that one, I can go to the chart step, and Yellowfin would have created the chart for me. So now I can simply save this report, give it a name, and there we go. That's how easy and quick it was to create a report and insights from my data. So assisted insights will not only give you insights, but it will also save you a lot of time. As a business user, you don't have to wait for developers to create the report to explain the values to you. And as a report developer, I can use this to find better insights in my data. So that's it for today. With that, we're going to allow for some questions. We'll try to cover as most of them as possible. If not, we'll get back to you afterwards. Jurgen, any questions?
Hi, Gabi, a great presentation. Thank you. It seems to be very clear. We don't have any so I assume it was clear for everyone. Yeah, I hope you have seen some features that you can use for yourself, your own organizations. Stories and present and also assisted insights are part of the Yellowfin suite that you all have. It's not a separate module that you have to purchase, so you're all allowed or able to use it whenever you want. In Present is something that's launched in version 9. Stories is also in version 8 available, also assisted insight, but it has been evolved during time, and in 9 it's, yeah, let's say the best. And in 9.3, the PDF export functionality came out for Present. So the PowerPoint style presentation can now also be sent directly, exported or broadcasted with a PDF or via a PDF. And that's a feature that was on the list for some time and is really going to help a lot of customers. I see some questions are coming in actually at this moment. So we have 1 minute left, I see. It's, is it possible that 2 collaborators work simultaneously on one story? Gabi?
Yeah, at this stage, no. Yellowfin doesn't allow live collaboration, so not simultaneously. The one have to finish before the other one can work.
but you can actually comment on it. You can do collaboration and tell what you think about it, and then other people can comment, etc. So talk about the data.
Yeah, the normal collaboration will still work, but the co-authoring is only one at a time. Yes.
And it's more a remark I get than a question. It says, anonymous says, "Thank you, Jürgen and team. It was indeed very clear." So thank you for your time, and I hope to see you at the next webinar we run in exactly 2 weeks, and that will be a webinar on code mode, where you will see what actually actions can do, adding those to the dashboards and integrate with other solutions, and also writing back. So if you're interested, how can I create my budget in Yellowfin, write it back and present it immediately with my actuals, you have to watch within 2 weeks. And 2 weeks after that, we will run a webinar on signals. So actually that's also a kind of assisted insight, but then real-time monitoring with large volumes of data. It's really, really interesting. So I hope to see you then. And for now, I say goodbye and thank you, Gabi.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.